If two people are truly meant to be together, one pattern never fails. No matter how different their lives are or how unexpected the meeting feels, it always appears first. Most people think destiny begins with instant comfort, easy love, and the feeling that everything has finally fallen into place. They imagine two people meeting, smiling, and knowing right away they belong together. But real destiny arrives quietly and then shakes everything, bringing disruption before peace instead of rushing two people into love. Instead, it creates distance, pulls them apart, challenges their beliefs, and forces them to face themselves. It breaks illusions they never realized they were living in, not as punishment, but as preparation for the connection ahead. Before two destined people can truly come together, they must first be changed from within. If you believe two people can be truly destined, hit like right now. Real destiny does not arrive gently. It transforms people before it unites them. People often misunderstand destined love, believing it should feel safe and comfortable from the very beginning. In reality, it rarely starts with comfort because it first challenges expectations, reshapes each person, and repeats this pattern again and again. The first sign of a deep, meaningful connection is not peace, but recognition, a feeling that changes everything before love fully unfolds. That recognition is the one thing that almost always happens when two people are truly meant for each other. If you believe two people can be truly destined, hit like right now so this reaches more souls. You meet someone, and something inside you responds before your mind can understand why. You may not feel calm, secure, or even certain about them, yet you feel deeply seen in a way that unsettles you. It is as if they notice the parts of you that you usually keep hidden, even from yourself. Most people expect love to feel soothing, but destiny often begins with discomfort. That discomfort does not mean they are wrong for you. It often means they reflect the fears, wounds, and unfinished parts of yourself you have been avoiding. They see beyond the version of you that the world knows, reaching deeper layers that can feel vulnerable and even threatening. That is why destined connections often feel intense before they feel peaceful. They bring awareness before closeness. And this is why people meant to share a future rarely stay together at first. Life often separates them because one or both still carry emotional pain, fear vulnerability, struggle with self-worth, or love from fear instead of wholeness. If unfinished people come together too soon, they can unintentionally hurt each other. So destiny creates distance and quietly says, not yet. The separation is not punishment, but preparation, protecting what could become something truly meaningful. When destined people part, the pain feels different from ordinary heartbreak. It is not only sadness, but confusion, as though you have lost part of yourself. These connections are tied to growth rather than ego, so their absence forces you inward. You begin facing the fears you have ignored, your fear of abandonment, your need for validation, and the deeper emotional work that must be healed before the connection can truly flourish. You begin to notice how often you give too much of yourself just to keep people close and avoid taking responsibility for your own emotional needs. These realizations are uncomfortable but necessary. The pain is not there to break you, it is there to awaken you. Even in silence, with no communication or contact, something quietly changes inside you. Logic may tell you to move on, yet you become more aware of yourself and your growth. Comment destined. If you've ever felt a connection that wouldn't leave you alone, you become more careful about who you allow into your life and more honest about your feelings and boundaries. Things you once accepted no longer feel right, and people you once chased lose their appeal. You begin seeking depth instead of surface attention and real connection instead of temporary comfort. Often, you do not realize this transformation began the moment that person entered your life. They became the trigger that started a process of reflection rather than obsession. Instead of losing yourself in thoughts of them, you begin questioning your own patterns, choices, and the person you are becoming. You ask yourself why you love the way you do, why you fear closeness, and why you settle for less than you deserve. These questions slowly reshape you. Even if they disappear from your daily life, their impact remains, changing how you see relationships, yourself, and self-respect. They teach you that love is not only about being together but also about becoming whole on your own. Over time, you may notice that you are no longer willing to repeat old cycles. You stop chasing people who cannot meet you emotionally. You stop ignoring red flags just to feel chosen. You start valuing peace, honesty, and mutual effort. This growth feels natural even though it was born from pain. And that is how you know the connection was meaningful. Destined love is not loud. It does not always stay. Sometimes it comes, changes you, and leaves. Sometimes it leaves so that you can become the version of yourself that could one day sustain real love. Whether the person returns or not is not always the point. The purpose was the transformation, the awakening, the redirection toward a deeper, more conscious way of living and loving. When two people are truly meant for each other, their story does not follow a straight line. It moves through distance, confusion, and inner work. It forces growth before union. And that pattern, again and again, is the one thing that always happens. You think about them during moments when you are becoming more aware of yourself, during times when you are changing quietly from the inside, during nights when everything around you feels still and your thoughts become louder than the world. You think of them during emotional breakthroughs that arrive without warning. Moments when you suddenly understand something about yourself that you did not see before. You are not thinking of them because you are lonely. You are not thinking of them because you need attention or validation. You think of them because something deep within you understands that the connection carried meaning and that meaning has not fully settled yet. Your soul recognizes unfinished lessons. It recognizes that something important was activated through that connection. This is not weakness. This is not obsession. This is not attachment in the way people often describe it. This is integration. It is your inner world trying to place an experience where it belongs, trying to absorb what it taught you and trying to understand how it changed you. A destined connection does not disappear simply because time passes. It stays present in quiet ways. It shows up when you grow. It shows up when you heal. It shows up when you outgrow old versions of yourself. That is because the connection was never just about romance. It was about transformation. Many people ask why a connection like this cannot be replaced. They try to replace it. They meet someone new. They enter new relationships. They distract themselves with conversations, activities, and routines. They convince themselves that moving on means forgetting. Sometimes they even believe they have succeeded. Life looks normal again. They laugh, they socialize, they move forward. But beneath the surface, something feels incomplete. There is a subtle emptiness that does not go away, not because the new person is unkind, not because the relationship lacks effort. It exists because the new connection does not awaken the same depth. It does not challenge the same parts of the soul. A destined connection does not compete with others. It exists on a different level entirely. This type of connection is not built on attraction alone. It is not about excitement or chemistry. It is not about comfort or familiarity. Comment separated. If destiny ever pulled you apart from someone you felt was the one. It is about evolution. It is about becoming more honest with yourself. It is about being forced to face parts of yourself you may have ignored for years. Destiny works on both people separately before it ever brings them together again. Distance is not a punishment. It is a classroom. While the two of you are apart, life is shaping you in different ways, often through discomfort. One person begins to learn boundaries. They learn how to say no without guilt. They learn how to stop giving more than they receive. They learn that love does not require self-sacrifice. They learn that choosing themselves is not selfish, it is necessary. The other person begins to learn accountability. They learn that silence can hurt. They learn that avoiding emotions does not erase them. They learned that actions have consequences even when intentions were unclear. They learned that connection requires responsibility. One person learns self-respect. They stop accepting uncertainty as proof of love. They stop waiting for clarity that never arrives. They realize that consistency matters. The other learns emotional courage. They learn how to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. They learn how to face vulnerability instead of escaping it. One person learns how to stop chasing. They recognize that love cannot be forced. They understand that chasing someone who is not ready only creates imbalance and pain. The other learns how to stop running. They realize that distance does not protect them from loss. It only delays growth. Both people are changing, but neither can see the full picture yet. This is intentional. If they saw everything too soon, growth would stop. The unknown creates space for transformation. Before destined people can reunite, illusions must fall. The universe removes false beliefs slowly, often painfully. Beliefs like love should never be hard. Beliefs like if someone truly cared, they would always stay. Beliefs like love must be earned through suffering. Beliefs like another person is meant to complete you. These ideas feel comforting, but they damage real love. They create dependence. They create fear. They create expectations that no human can fulfill. So life strips them away. This stripping does not happen gently. It happens through silence, through distance, through disappointment, through moments when you are forced to sit alone with your thoughts. You begin to see yourself clearly. You begin to recognize patterns. You begin to understand where you abandoned yourself in the past. You learn that love is not meant to save you. You learn that another person cannot fill the spaces you have not healed. You learn that real connection begins with wholeness, not emptiness. A moment comes when something shifts inside you. You stop needing them, searching for signs, waiting for a message, or believing they must return for you to feel complete. That moment is not filled with bitterness, but with peace. This is when destiny begins moving again, not because you tried harder, but because you released your need to control the outcome. Real love is not dependence, but choice. When two people can stand on their own, love becomes a desire instead of a survival tool, and true alignment begins. If they return, they come back more aware and capable of a deeper connection. If they do not, the lesson still remains. You are no longer the person who entered the connection. You are stronger, clearer, and more grounded because destined connections are about transformation, not possession. They awaken you, deepen your self-respect, and guide your inner growth. Share this video if you're going through a separation that feels spiritual. When people truly meant for each other meet again, everything feels quietly different. It is not dramatic or overwhelming, but calm and steady. Your body relaxes before your mind understands why. Fear fades, tension eases, and the need to prove yourself disappears. You no longer perform or hide behind emotional defenses. Instead, what naturally takes its place is honesty. The kind that feels effortless, genuine, and deeply peaceful. The kind that does not need explanations or defenses. The connection feels calmer because both people have already faced chaos on their own. It feels deeper because they have looked inward and seen their own shadows. It feels clearer because illusions have already been broken. It is not perfect and it never pretends to be perfect, but it is aware. There is consciousness in how words are chosen, how silence is respected, how boundaries are honored. There are no games being played, no hidden intentions, no need to test each other's feelings. There is no confusion about where you stand. There is simply recognition, like meeting a familiar truth again, only this time with maturity and strength behind it. And sometimes, even with all of this, those people do not return to each other. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Yet the destiny between them was still real. The connection was not imagined. It was not a mistake. It was not wasted time. Not all destined connections are meant to last forever. Some are meant to exist only long enough to change you. Some are meant to enter your life, shake your inner world, and then leave once their purpose is complete. These are the relationships that expose patterns you learned long before you had a choice. They reveal where love was confused with sacrifice, where attachment was confused with safety, where silence was confused with peace. These connections force you to see what you have been carrying that was never truly yours. They bring buried pain to the surface so it can finally be healed instead of repeated. Other connections come to teach you self-love when you have been neglecting yourself. They mirror back how you allow yourself to be treated. Through them, you see where you settle, where you shrink, and where you abandon your own needs just to keep someone close. They awaken you to the truth that love should not cost you your dignity, your voice, or your sense of self. These lessons are painful, but they are necessary. Without them, you might have continued giving too much and asking for too little. Some destined people awaken emotional depth within you. They make you feel things you had numbed yourself to. They remind you that you are capable of deep care, vulnerability, and connection. Even if they leave you more open than before. Others redirect your entire life path. Meeting them changes the choices you make, the standards you set, and the direction you move in. They do not stay because their role was never to remain. Their role was to prepare you for what comes next. That does not make these connections meaningless. It makes them sacred. Sacred things are not always permanent. They are important because of what they awaken inside you, not because of how long they last. Many people wonder why destiny feels so harsh before it ever feels gentle, why it seems to take things away instead of giving. The truth is that destiny does not exist to protect comfort. Comfort keeps you stuck in familiar patterns even when those patterns hurt you. Destiny exists to protect your potential. It will allow your heart to break before it allows your soul to slowly disappear. It will remove people from your life before it allows you to lose yourself trying to keep them. In the moment this feels cruel, you replay every detail. Type growth. If this message is awakening something deep inside you, you question your worth. You wonder what you could have done differently. You feel abandoned by something you trusted. But time slowly reveals what pain could not explain. With distance, you begin to see how staying would have kept you trapped in an older version of yourself. You begin to understand that leaving forced growth you were avoiding. There is one truth that appears again and again in destined connections. When two people are truly meant to be together, they are often forced to grow separately first. They are separated so illusions can fall away. They are stripped of fantasies about love, about each other, and about themselves. They are confronted with their wounds, their fears, their unhealthy habits, and the ways they avoid responsibility for their own healing. This period is not punishment. It is preparation. It is not punishment for your past mistakes or the ways you loved too much or too little. It is a sacred pause where life gently reshapes you into the person you were always meant to become. During this time, you are refined through lessons that cannot be rushed or borrowed. You learn that boundaries are not walls but protection for your energy, and that self-respect comes from knowing your own worth rather than seeking validation from others. You learn to love deeply without losing yourself and discover that being chosen by someone else means little if you have not first chosen yourself. True wholeness cannot come from another person's acceptance. It must grow from within. Only after this inner work begins does destiny reveal the next step. Sometimes it leads to reunion with stronger hearts and clearer minds, and sometimes it leads to a new direction that better supports your growth. Either way, no one comes through the journey unchanged. Something essential shifts within you, quietly at first but profoundly over time. The person you were at the beginning no longer exists in quite the same way. If someone comes to mind as you hear these words, let them settle gently in your heart. You do not need to chase, force, or prove anything because true destiny never asks you to shrink yourself, abandon your integrity, or live in constant fear and confusion. Comment. Recognize if you've ever felt that instant soul recognition with someone. It will feel safe, natural, and right without making you question your value or worth. It will never ask you to silence yourself or settle for less than you deserve. Instead, it will ask for growth, honesty, and the courage to face yourself even when it feels uncomfortable. And if that person does not return, do not see it as failure. The connection was never meant to prove permanence. It came into your life as a teacher, shaping you for what was meant to come next. It prepared you to recognize love in its truth rather than its illusion. Destined connections are not about possession, certainty, or guarantees, but about transformation. They arrive when you are ready, or when life is preparing you to become ready. They disturb your comfort, reveal your blind spots, challenge old beliefs, and make space for healthier ones. Though they may leave pain behind, they also leave clarity, wisdom, and the quiet certainty that every moment had a purpose. Nothing is wasted. No tear, longing, heartbreak, or disappointment is meaningless. What feels like loss often leads to alignment. Rejection often points you toward a truer path, and endings often begin a deeper relationship with yourself. Destiny never rushes or explains everything at once. It asks for patience when you want answers and trust when uncertainty feels heavy. Looking back, you will see it was guiding you all along, even through the moments that hurt the most. Like this video, comment which part hit you hardest, and subscribe for more messages on destined love and inner growth.